Tales from the Terran Republic. Sympathy for the Befouler. I woke up the next morning still in my dress with her head laying on my stomach, drooling on me. I just rolled her off of me and got some tea. Yeah, I know, but it's Kraxina, so it didn't really pooping bother me that much anymore. I've never had a pet before. Is this what's it like? Anyway, after she finally got up and we had breakfast, she said that she was going to go grab her stuff. I asked her if she wanted me to come along, but she said that it was fine and wouldn't be a big deal. I knew that I should have gone along, but having a little space was just too appealing. Scum! I really should have listened to my gut. A few hours of blessed peace and quiet later, I got a phone call. It was Kraxina. "Shaloran," she whispered. "I'm in trouble. I'm really scared." Poop. I Flushing knew something like this was going to happen. "What's going on?" I asked. "Gotran is saying that I owe him a lot more money," she whispered, her voice quivering. "So come on back here and we will work something out." "He won't let me leave. He says that I have to work it off." "Well, leave anyway. I'm locked in this room and can't get out. I'm so scared. He says that some people are going to come over and take me to a party. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go." "Poop. Kraxina, call the police. Now." "I can't. What if I get arrested again?" "What are you doing?" this gruff voice yelled. "Give me that." "I'm at the Starbright Hotel. Help." The line went dead. I just stood there. Kraxina was in trouble, real trouble. From what I've watched and read, getting taken someplace else is bad, real bad. I started to get really scared for her. Then I started to get mad, really mad. Madder than I've ever Flushing been before. "Oh, poop, no," I yelled and dialed a number. "What?" "Yeah," a sleepy voice answered. "Darla, this is Shaloran." "Oh, Shaloran, hello. Were you serious about wanting to help me out?" "Yeah, sure. Can you get a car and meet me?" "No." "Right pooping now?" "Yeah, on my way." Good old Darla pooping came through. She swooshed into the hotel parking lot in a Flushing grav van not half an hour later. I jumped in and we tore across the city in one of the express flyways. I wasn't worried about the pooping tolls. As we did, I pulled the burner from my waistband and checked it. Darla said uncertainly. "I'm down and all, but I'm already in trouble and—" "It's not going to come to that," I snapped. "I'm just making sure it's ready, just in case, that's all." "Oh, okay," she said as she broke about half a dozen traffic laws. We swooshed into the parking lot of this really scummy little hotel not long after that. I was still so mad I couldn't pooping see straight. Before the van even fully stopped, I jumped out and just marched my little stubby tail right into the lobby. There was this really fat, mangy-looking threen behind the desk watching something on his computer. "Where's Kraxina?" I snarled. "Scum! I was steaming." "Who?" the poop face said, baring his fangs. "Never heard of her." "Listen here, poop face. I know she was here and you better pooping pray she still is." "Yeah, or what?" he said, getting up and walking over to me, trying to look big and scary. "A bully. I really hate bullies." Darla walked in and he took a little step back, pooping bully. "You better listen to her, Zeno," Darla said. "Don't you know who she is?" "Yeah," I thought as I started to smile. "That's right. I'm pooping Shaloran." I took a deep breath and exhaled. "That's right," I said with a smile. "I don't think I've properly introduced myself. I'm Shaloran the Plath, nice to meet you." "Yeah, and—" "You must not be fully acquainted with my community," I said, trying to sound just as nasty as I could. "You're a threen. Got a FedNet account?" "Yeah?" "Do a FedNet search for my name." "I ain't gonna pay for a relay link over your scrawny little butt." "Oh, you really want to do that search before we go any further? I'll pay for the link. I have the credits, trust me." "Do it, shitsack," Darla growled, flexing a little behind me. I loaded 100 credits on a card and tossed it on the counter. It was way too much, but I wanted to flex a little myself. Crime lords throw around the credits. At least they do in the hollows. "There's 100. Flushing, start typing." He looked over at Darla and grumbled something under his breath, and then after he checked the card, he started typing. I walked around the counter behind him and saw all of the complete bullpoop that filled the screen. He glanced back at me, looking a lot pooping different. "Look, I don't—" "Hey, don't you want to watch some videos?" I want to watch some videos. Do you want to watch some?" I asked as I turned to Darla, channeling every stupid movie and game villain that I could think of. "Yeah, some vids would be nice," Darla said, grinning at the threen. "Oh, that one, The Drop of Oil. I haven't seen that one yet," I said, grinning at him as if I've seen any of them. "But "Hi, Pooping," said Play it, jerkface. He pressed play. "Shaloran, a simple good name for a simple good girl from a simple good town," a Plath announcer's voice said as my pooping childhood pictures and scenes from my hometown scrolled across the screen one after another. Who could have guessed the evil that this innocent-looking little girl harbored in her soul? I tried not to laugh as a picture of me, bow and all, with fire being reflected in my eyes, suddenly appeared. That was from the Pooping Harvest Festival bonfire. I was singing hymns when that was taken for poop's sake. Perversion, treason, mass murder. The screen shifted to images of computer games and then to images of that mass shooting, Plath running everywhere, their faces twisted with fear and pain. Pooping, really? The Threen looked back at me with big eyes. I just pointed at the screen. He flinched and went back to watching. She was just an innocent little bank clerk in a tiny town. Nobody knew the horrors locked away behind her innocent smile. A picture of me smiling at the bank appeared. Where did they even get that? Unknown to almost everyone, she was also media pirate of the worst sort, dealing in the most vile, disgusting Terran things available anywhere in the galaxy. Cutscenes of hyper-violent and perverted games flashed across the screen. Some of my favorites, actually. It got kind of boring for a while they went into all of the games and they had Plath experts talking about how horrible and corrupting they were, and how I was like this really big-time pirate who was at the center of a major piracy ring. Okay, that part might be true, but the center was a bit of an exaggeration. They had some people that I kinda knew talking about me. And then there she was, my dear best friend in the whole galaxy, Felix Rowe. That little dummy. She, wearing her prison smock and everything, just let them lead her around, and she said exactly what they wanted her to say, painting quite the pooping picture. Some of it was even true. Suddenly the image switched to oil spreading across water. Looked kinda badass if I pooping say so myself. Then the oil finally smothered anything pure left in her, and the time was ripe for her to strike. Her contacts within the Terran underworld led her to make an unholy deal with the worst sorts of Terrans, and she betrayed her own people, her own hometown, as she arranged the first of her major heists. The words "warning, disturbing imagery" flashed across the screen. Moments later, actual pooping pictures of the police station appeared. Oh, by the waters. Oh, poop. It was so awful. There they were, the chief and the guys just all blown up. It was horrible. I had to look down, and then I saw that the scummy little Threen was looking away too. I said, "Watch!" I hissed at him. He looked at me really nervous and turned back to the screen. The show just went on and pooping on about how horrible I was and about the Terran raiders, and how I just stood there pretending to be so innocent when I had just arranged for those poor policemen to be murdered as if the whole thing was my idea. People actually believe this. Now, with the payment, the absolute worst game ever made, in truth, a psychological weapon from none other than the Republic's own intelligence agency, a tool to invade the minds and very souls of the innocent, she unleashed her will across the entire planet, corrupting the souls of thousands. The Threen looked back at me. "Hey, keep watching. Don't make me tell you again," I snapped. This was kind of pooping neat. I was starting to really get into it. Yeah, Shaloran the Plath. Fear me, you poopers. There was a whole lot about Federation fun time after that, so much bull poop. You can't even imagine. Then there was this really neat graphic showing how it spread from my hometown across the entire planet. It was just too pooping much. Then the whole mass shooting came up once again in flushing horrible detail. They didn't pull any punches with those pictures either. Tea wasn't going to cut it. I was going to need a couple of beers and a pillow for it after that one. I pooping hope Kraxina appreciates what I went through for her. I actually managed to fake a little giggle when they interviewed the crying survivors. I could see him flinch, but he didn't look back this time. Oh, those poor people. I might have pulled off a movie villain giggle, but oh, my heart was pooping breaking for them. Listen to them, I, channeling one of my favorite movie villains, managed to squeak. Absolutely no sense of humor. I try to bring in some fun, brighten up the pooping place, and this is the flushing thanks I get. Fuck, dude, Darla muttered behind me. The Threen just sort of hunched down. They pooping bought it. What the poop? Is this what people actually think I'm like? This is flushing awful. Who knows how much more carnage she would have unleashed if it wasn't for our righteous wrath. The brainwashing horror was found on the shooter's, yet another of her victims' computer. Almost immediately our noble detectives were on her blood-soaked trail. With the assistance of Federation intelligence, we were rapidly closing in. Knowing her reign of terror was at an end, Shaloran decided to flee, but not before she indulged her profane desires on our world one last time. Footage of me robbing that bank started to play. Even as rattled as I was inside after all of this poop, I still couldn't help but be a little proud. I really looked like a badass. I was all like pew pew and they were all like R and thud. It looked like something out of a video game. Shit, Darla exclaimed. The Threen actually yelped. Chill, it was just a pooping stunner, I replied. They're fine. See? They are interviewing them. Oh, to hear those jerk faces talk about it, I scarred them for life. I just stunned them. What were they crying about? I've been stunned way worse and you don't hear me pooping crying about it. Okay, maybe a little, but come on. It was 5 hits from a prison rod. Fleeing just moments ahead of her just punishment, she, using her in-depth knowledge of the criminal underworld, slithered unseen off of our world, finally freeing us from her oil-soaked grasp and cutting a blood-soaked swath across the Federation. We have uncovered some heretofore unknown footage of yet more of her savagery. A distant image of those 2 poop heads who tried to jump me in that starport appeared. The screen showed me walk up and then blast both of them. Hey, that was some editing bullpoop right there. It looked like I just walked up and shot them for no reason. That's bullpoop, I yelped despite myself. They drew first. I don't think either Darla or the Threen believed me. Good riddance, a burly human growled at the camera. Those 2 were bleep bounty hunters. It was about bleep time someone put a hole in those miserable bleep. Probably found out that they were rats, and you know what you do with bleep rats. You bleep waste them. It showed me gunning them down again. Apparently, Shaloran agrees. Even armed, experienced human bounty hunters cannot save themselves from being drowned in oil. Not much is known about where she went or what she did after this, the narrator said as the image of my face with the flames in my eyes appeared on the screen. One can only imagine what other havoc she wreaked upon our fair Federation. Where is she now? The voice asked as Felix Rowe's smiling face appeared on the screen. Oh, definitely the Republic, she happily exclaimed. She was always talking about it. Imagine, all the games. The scene switched to images of oil dropping into water. Let's hope so. May the Republic face her and the oil she drips from every pad. It's only a matter of time before she is unable to resist the film that has completely befouled her pond. Perhaps they will be better equipped to deal with the horrors they create. Perhaps they deserve her. May the waters of the eternal pond protect us, and may the great ocean forever keep her from our shores. It is said that once in every generation that the Befouler is granted one soul, one vessel from which his oil can flow. Many thought this to be a legend, a simple superstition, but after Shaloran, is it? Dramatic music started to play and scenes of the carnage that I am apparently responsible for flashed across the screen. Shaloran, traitor, pervert, murderer, Befouler. What happened, Shaloran? What made you this way? Did the Terrans and their perverted games corrupt you, or did the Befouler itself breathe life into your waters from the start? We will never know, but we do know this. Wherever you are, Befouler, stay there. Lurk forever in whatever pit into which you have crawled. But know this. Images of bonfires and of groups of Plath holding candles appeared one after another. If you decide to return, we are waiting and we are ready to face you, fiend. And know that your oil may have left a stain, but our ponds are still bright and clear. You failed, Befouler, you failed. As the screen faded to black, I just couldn't help it. Challenge accepted. I'm just getting pooping started, I said to the screen. I hope that wasn't over the top. Miss Shaloran, the Threen mumbled. I don't want any trouble. You don't. I smile at him. You were fine with trouble when you grabbed my friend. Is she still here? You better pooping pray she is. Yes, she's here. How much does she owe you? Not what you told her she owed you. How much does she actually owe? Don't worry about it. You don't get to tell me what I pooping worry about and what I don't, Threen. I snapped, kinda getting into the act. How much does she flushing owe? 180. You made me drop what I was doing and come down here over a flushing 180 measly credits? Oh, I should pooping. No. Calm down, Shaloran. You're not in the Federation. You can't just do stuff like that anymore. I made a big show of calming myself down. I really hoped I wasn't going too over the top with it. What's the total? I asked really politely. Judge Dredd taught me how pooping scary polite could be. 183 credits, ma'am. Oh, for the love of... I said, transferring the balance to his terminal. There. Now go be a good little Threen and fetch me Kraxina. Yes, right away. The flabby Threen jogged off and Kraxina came running out moments later and hugged me. Oh, thank the Creator. I was so scared. I just put my arm around her as the Threen rushed out with 2 rolling suitcases. Here, it's all there. All of it. Better be, I snarled at him. Oh, one last thing, I said as I walked up really close to him. I really hate pooping bullies. I despise them, I truthfully said as I glared up at him. After I go, you fall on your knees and thank whatever god you worship that she was still here and nothing happened to her. I took another step forward as he shrank back. Thank them, because whatever would have happened to her I would have had done to you. Twice. I didn't know Threen could go pale. I pooping swear he went white as a sheet. All right, girls, I said. We're done here. Let's go. We all head out to the van and get inside. Shit, Shaloran, Darla said. That was fucking cool as hell. Thanks, I reply as I sort of sank into the passenger's seat, completely exhausted. Oh, by the way, I actually didn't have anything to do with that mass shooting and feel really bad about it. All that poop was just to scare him. I'm really not like that, I swear. Sure, Shaloran, whatever you say. Seriously, I just sighed and drooped my head. This is going to be like the 5 stunner thing, isn't it? Shaloran, Kraxina asked in a small voice. Yes, Kraxina. You don't work in a coffee shop, do you? After we all got back to the hotel, I loaded a card with 1,000 credits. I didn't know how much I should pay Darla, but I figured that should cover it. At least I hoped it would. It did. It definitely did. I thought her head was going to pooping explode. Wow. Thanks. Look, if you ever need someone again, you can just call me, okay? Sure, and I'll put in a good word with Baxland for you. Thanks, boss. She got into the van, waved happily, and lifted off. I just sort of crumpled and leaned against the wall while Kraxina just clung to me like, I don't know, something clingy. I needed a beer and you had better pooping believe I got one. I got more than one. So let me get this straight, a Kalesh police officer said to the Threen. This Shaloran person came in here, forced you to watch a scary movie, and then made you accept her payment? Yes. She threatened me. It was Shaloran. You know, the Plath. Shaloran the Plath. You had to have heard of her. And she did this because, and let me make sure I'm getting this right, the Kalesh asked, his eye stalks vibrating. Because you were holding a friend of hers against her will and wouldn't let her leave? Yes, because she owed me money. Uh-huh, the Kalesh said, making a note on his tablet. And you're sure, absolutely sure, completely positive that you want me to file this report? Yes, she came in here and threatened me. She's dangerous. Oh, okay, the Kalesh said, wiggling his eye stalks violently. Gotron, you are under arrest. What? But I'm the victim here. Well, you can explain all of that to the judge, the Kalesh said with a chuckle as his human partner pulled out a set of restraints. The next morning, a couple of cops showed up. Can you believe the weenie actually went crying to the pooping cops? Funny thing was they weren't after me. They just wanted to talk to Kraxina about how that bully treated her. They looked over at me and just couldn't believe that I was the big scary monster that had that Threen so shaken up that he didn't realize that he was the one that broke like a bunch of laws or something. They just laughed and laughed. They did make a point of telling me that we should have just called them, and that I really shouldn't have gone stomping in there because I could have wound up in the same position as my friend. I just gave them a look and told them that any bodies they found in there wouldn't have been ours. They pooping loved that, told me that I was fitting into Terran society just fine. Maybe cops aren't all that bad after all. Still, it's probably best I don't get them involved in my business all that often, though, considering everything. A few days later, Gotron was sitting in court next to his lawyer. Look, Gotron, don't worry. This is false imprisonment at the absolute worst. But you don't understand, Shaloran. I keep telling you this Shaloran person didn't actually break any laws. But she's a killer. Not in the Republic she isn't, and just because she made you wet yourself doesn't mean she broke any laws. Now just be cool and we'll get you out of this no problem. All rise, the bailiff called out. Court is now in session, Judge Thaddeus Carter presiding. The door opened and Judge Dredd walked into the room dragging a long, heavy cable. He sat down and looked over at Gotron. Why, hello there, he said with a vicious grin.